Okay guys, so the first thing that you absolutely have to get through your head is we have this limiting negative thought that a lot of people, myself included, at many times in my life have said, which is completely untrue. And that thought is, that belief is, I didn't go to college, so I can't get a real career. I didn't go to college, I don't deserve, or I'm not able to get a high-paying job. I didn't come from the right part of town, I didn't come from the right family, I don't know the right people. Oh, there's politics and everything. There's no way I can possibly have a successful life, have a good paying job. 30 bucks an hour is something that's unattainable for me. If you have ever reasoned these exact same excuses in your own head, it's normal. It really is. It's totally normal. I thought that for years. I'll never be successful. I haven't gone to school. The only way I could possibly get any type of real job is if I go to college. It's completely, total bullcrap. What's up, you guys? Hey, look, Mike here. We're doing a video today. It's been much requested. I'm really excited to talk about this, okay? We're gonna talk about jobs that are gonna make you over $60,000 a year with no college education, very little upfront costs or no upfront costs. Why is this important? If you've watched my other videos, and we've talked about how what you need to do is get to $60,000 a year. Why? Because you live like you make $30,000. This is what I'm doing right now. I live somewhere and I operate and I make all of my expenses as if I only make $30,000 a year, and then save everything additionally that I make after that. So if you can live like you are making only 30 and then save everything else, you will very quickly, over 1 to 2 years, be able to amass a large amount of money to put towards a down payment on what? A multi-family property. Not an apartment building, but a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, much like the one I live in right now, duplex. My neighbor's downstairs below me, okay? All right. Real quick, none of these are not in a particular order. There's no particular pay order, no particular order of ease of attainment. These are just rapid fire, random different jobs that you could get that will make you $60,000 a year or more with no college education or very little training or very little education at all. So one thing to keep in mind, they will probably want to see that you have some prior work history. Between the ages of 18 and 20, you may need to work at McDonald's or Walmart or a retail store in the mall in order to show that you at least can hold down a job. But let's move into it. So two of them right off the bat, mechanics and diesel mechanics. Now both of these jobs may require some actual education. Now there are technical schools that will put you through a few-month program where you can pay a few $1,000s instead of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. A few $1,000s to go to a technical school in order to get certified to be a mechanic. But a diesel mechanic and a normal mechanic, you can make $80,000 to $90,000 a year, and you do not have to have schooling. You do have to at some point become ASE certified, and what that certification does is show that you've met minimum standards on your knowledge of working on vehicles. But that knowledge can be gained just through hands-on process or hands-on training. Go work at a Jiffy Lube, go work at a Grease Monkey, go work at any type of lube shop, or find a local small auto parts shop, and not an auto parts shop, like a local auto repair shop, and call. Hey, I want to come in and be your cleaning guy, cleaning the parts, cleaning the tools, cleaning the cars, cleaning the engine, doing the grunt work, but I really want to have the opportunity to study under one of the mechanics. Would you guys give me that opportunity? And a lot of these guys are good, old, classic American mentors. I mean, it's what you picture when you think of the 60s. A couple of guys working on a car with a beer in hand. A lot of these folks really are happy to take you under the wing. And again, this is not a gender-specific job. I've seen plenty of female mechanics, so ladies, please, by all means, do not feel averse to physical labor. Next job after that, air traffic control. Surprisingly, this is a very high-paid job, does not need any type of college education. They will train you. Now, they are going to do a very strict background check because you're going to be working air traffic control. You cannot be in any way any type of troublemaker. And a lot of these jobs will also require you to have a relatively clean background. This is just something that kind of goes without saying, okay? You need to be a decent, somewhat honest, reputable person and present yourself well. Otherwise, who's going to want to hire you at all beyond McDonald's or Walmart? But air traffic control, go ahead and Google it. If you live near an airport, I'm in Seattle, only a few miles away from SeaTac. It's a good option that can pay you some serious money. Just make sure you have headphones on so your hearing doesn't go. Garbage men, recycling men, these guys in my area make starting 30 bucks an hour. Yeah, they have a union. You may have to join a union. Depends on what state you're from, okay? Not only the garbage men have a union, a lot of state employees have are parts of some sort of union, but garbage recycling guys, again, it's hard labor. It's not glamorous, but you can make 30 or more an hour just by putting in a few years there. What else do we have? My personal favorite, right? My own background, construction. This could be construction for a small company or a small business, or this could be local 242 like we have here in Seattle, which is large construction that you will see building the Amazon buildings, or doing pavement on the city streets, or striping, or the guy who stands out there with a stop sign and turns the stop sign from slow to stop to slow. That guy in this area makes 28 bucks an hour starting, $28 an hour to turn the sign on every job. If you make 30 bucks an hour, you make $60,000 a year, $28 an hour starting. And these guys have an unbelievable opportunity to take advantage of overtime, to take advantage of double time and time and a half if they're working Saturdays, Sundays, night shifts, weekends. They pick shifts up. I work with these guys almost every single week. Why? Well, because I'm out flagging traffic as the uniformed police officer in the intersection that they're required to have by law anytime they do work around an intersection. I talk to all these guys. These guys make good money. It's hard work, it's tough work, but you can do it. Just get in, go down, find your union, or go down and apply at one of these larger paving companies. It's a good opportunity. Back on the small business side of it, where did I first get to 60,000 bucks a year? Working at a small company named Granite Transformations. I worked my way up from the guy who swept floors into a lead installer, shop manager, general manager position, just working for a small company, working hard and proving to the owners, hey, look, I want to do whatever it takes to make more money and I will work hard for you guys, so just give me the chance. And they did, and it was very beneficial to me in the long run. So construction, not beneath you. It is Uber driver, a Lyft driver. I have a good friend who drives for Lyft. Last night, she went out and she made $300 in 3 hours. That's $100 an hour. Now, the funny thing with this job is it's going to be sporadic. You're going to have a weird work schedule, and maybe that works for you and maybe it doesn't. At the very least, I recommend Uber and Lyft highly to people who are looking to supplement their income. Maybe they need to, as their commercials write, say, like, here's Dan and he's going to make a few extra bucks this weekend. Yeah, you really can. If you live in a large area like I do, Seattle, a bigger city where there's a high demand for people to use Uber, man, nobody wants to get arrested for DUI. Nobody wants to have to find and pay for parking in a major city. Uber is fantastic, and these drivers make a lot of money even before they get tipped. And who tips better than really, really drunk people if you just sit there and crack a couple jokes with them? Uber and Lyft give you the opportunity to make a good amount of money. So seriously, consider it. Very easy job. Even if you do have a little more spotty record like we talked about earlier, you can still get hired there. Also, in that same line, commercial driver's license, truck drivers. Again, I'm from North Dakota. The oil fields in North Dakota, I kid you not, will pay you $100,000 a year. Easily, just easily. They'll pay you way more than that. Now, this is not glamorous work. You live in a not very desirable state, and an even less desirable part of the undesirable state. It's bitter cold out. I'm talking -20, -30, -40 degrees. It is fiercely cold. But if you're willing to put up with the harsh living conditions and go out there and work your butt off, you can sock away a boatload of money. Not only that, but your CDL transfers all across the nation. You can work driving trucks in any state. You can take long road trips and use it as an opportunity to see the countryside. You can take it as an opportunity to get away from where you're at, explore, learn about maybe someplace you may want to move to. CDLs, again, a lot of these jobs are not glamorous jobs. They don't come with a particularly good reputation of being, white collar, okay? But get that stuff out of your head. What's more important is honest work, hard work, and good paying work. CDL, fantastic job. Metro transit drivers, kind of the same thing as a CDL. The guys who drive the buses in Seattle, they're making 30 bucks an hour. Why? Well, because there's a lot of homeless people on those buses and they got to put up with a decent amount of crap, and they're always struggling to hire more because they need more. But these guys can make a good amount of money driving a bus. Probably not a school bus, but driving, I'm talking about the big buses you see in downtown cities. These are fantastic jobs and opportunities for you with no college education to spend $2,000 to go do your 3-month training for your CDL, and now you have the ability to make whatever you want. if you're willing to move and take the jobs for it. I mean, it's fantastic, and I couldn't speak more highly of trucking as an industry. On top of that, they're honestly really nice people. Again, as an officer, I make a lot of stops on the side of the freeway. A lot of stops. I've had some serious close calls, not only with people nearly hitting me or hitting my car. And I love more than nothing else when I look down the 6 lanes of I-5 coming at me, and I'm like, oh shoot, there's an awful lot of cars coming this way. And then there's that big old 18-wheeler, and I can see him kind of blocking a lane for me, so I have a little extra coverage, and it's just shout out to my boy. I really appreciate that. I'm not gonna get hit for at least the next few minutes. Thank you. So don't judge people, man. Any work that's honest work is good work in my book. Okay, I'm gonna loop these two together, and they sort of fall under the same construction industry, but plumbers and electricians. This is another best kept secret. You call up a local handyman. You open up Google, you check Yelp, hop on Angie's List, and look for your local handyman. Someone who has a small business of maybe 2 or 3 people. You know, maybe it's like him and his wife does the accounting or something. You find that local handyman and you say, hey, look, man, do you need a helper? Do you need a $10 an hour guy? And I got a video coming to you about the $10 an hour guy and how you don't want to be that guy forever. But what you can do, most of these handymen have their licensing to do a certain amount of plumbing and a certain amount of electrician work. Not big, crazy rewiring of an entire house, but, you know, outlets and lights and fixtures and things like that. And plumbing, they can, you know, they can't run new piping through the house, but they can do all new fixtures and all new bathroom and leaky this, that, and the other. Why this is important is these guys usually charge a bare minimum of like $95 to come out. And then $30 an hour after that. And they just do handyman work, fill in little putties on the wall for holes or things like that, little basic repair work, very simple, easy to learn stuff. But why is this important? Electricians and plumbers can make an awful lot of money. And you can get in and be the $10 an hour guy to that plumber who doesn't want to spend his time doing, or maybe he's even getting old and he just doesn't want to get down on his knees anymore, but he'll show you how to do it. And yeah, you work for this guy for a year or two and recognize he's probably never going to give you a raise to 20 or $30 an hour, but you work from him for that year or two between 18 to 21 or 21 to 25, or at any point in life if you're willing to do it, if you can, and if you still physically can, and you gain that experience, and then ask for his help to branch out on your own. Ask for his help to move into the next step of your career. Take those skills and open your own handyman business. And once again, just like other construction, it will not only pay you as a primary source of income, it will save you so much money on repairs for your own home and your own future rental properties. Postmaster, again, you're gonna have to have a clean record, right? If you're gonna work for the federal government, you're gonna have to be able to pass a background check. But a postmaster, power linesman. Good friend of mine made $75,000 a year his very first year as a power linesman. He went to, I think it was a 6-month course that he paid for. You know, I don't remember exactly how much it was. I think it might have been somewhere around $8,000 to $10,000, a power linesman. But that is unlike college. You're making, I would pay for it all up front. If it was that cheap and that short, save the money, pay for it all up front, and go be the guy who hangs lines on telephone poles. They make a ton of money. Now, if you're afraid of heights, maybe it's not the job for you. But seriously, consider it. This is just good work that pays a lot and you'll be able to provide for your family. Postman, power linesman, fantastic. All right, I'm gonna round off here with the last few. Salesperson. Now, obviously, if you know anything about sales, right, most of the time it's gonna be commission-based. If you're selling something like cars, easily you can make $60,000 a year. If you're selling something like jewelry, ladies, selling jewelry, very common, right? You see them at all the jewelers in the mall. If you get good at it, if you take it seriously to the point where you're actually working on your craft, trying to be better at presenting your product, at walking people through the sales process, learn how to close, not just to be a salesperson, but in life, how to close everything. Interactions you have with people, deals that you're gonna make, purchasing a home, purchasing your car, learn to know when you're being sold, learn to know how to sell, right? Like one of my favorite books, Sell or Be Sold. You need to know how to do this. This is a valuable skill, and if you get truly good at it, you can make, honestly, sky's the limit. Literally, sky's the limit. Some of the Boeing guys that sell these airplanes, you know, they'll take an order for 10 airplanes to Dubai. I mean, they're making that one sale every couple of years, but it's millions and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of sales, and their commissions are astronomically large. I mean, this is a fantastic job. Police and firefighters, right? What I do right now. No college education needed sometimes, okay? In certain states, you may need that college education to be a police officer. It's not how it is here in Washington. In Washington State, you need a high school degree, high school diploma. Obviously, you gotta be able to pass a background check. But most departments in Washington State will start you year one, $60,000 a year. Mandatory union raises after 5 years will move you from between 60 to upwards of around $75,000 a year within 5 years. And again, this is including no overtime. If I factor in all the overtime that I've made as an officer here in King County, $87,000 a year was what I made last year as my first full year as an officer. Sky's the limit. Once again, tons of overtime opportunities, tons of additional emphasis opportunities, fantastic job. On top of it, I get a take-home car. I don't even pay to commute to work. I don't ever have to pay for mileage, for wear and tear on my car, for gas. That saves me, it's gotta be at least $4,000 or $5,000 a year. You think about how much you spend in gas and how much you spend in repairs and how much you spend in oil changes and all this other crap. Gone, done. Firefighter, same thing, second responders, okay. It's a little dig at the firefighters. I guess they're first responders too. You know, it's just, they make sure that they respond after we do. So they're 1A, you know, subcategory B, I don't know. Anyway. But again, no college education required. Good medical training will always help if you're a CNA or of any type of certificate program. But they will also provide all the training. You can go right out of high school and become a firefighter. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have to test. You do have to pass some sort of background check, but it's nothing like being an officer. No polygraph, no lie detector test if that's something you're afraid of. But firefighters, yes, again, both of these jobs are dangerous. They are dangerous, okay? But they will train you how to be, and I would recommend if you're gonna get in a department, get into one that provides good training. A larger department that isn't too big that maybe it has opportunity for corruption, but isn't too small that they don't have funding for training. Find that medium-sized, middle-sized to larger-sized department that will train you and teach you and retrain you to keep you safe and give you the opportunities you need to be successful. Guys, that's all I got for these jobs. There's so many more out there. If you can think of something, leave it in the comments below. Like, subscribe. I really appreciate always everyone watching this, and all I want to see is you be successful. I'll leave you with one last thought. The most important thing to recognize is that no job is beneath you. There is nothing that you are too good for, okay? If you're a very prideful person, you have to stop. If you're gonna make it today in the incredibly harsh economic conditions that we have, where baby boomers and Generation X have sucked so much money out of the market and have politically caused so much turmoil and contention and distress, and housing prices are through the roof, and there's always a looming economic crisis and a crash is coming around the corner all the time. If you're going to make it in this rigged game that has been set up for millennials and Generation Z and young people to try to find their way and play their way through, nothing, absolutely nothing is beneath you. You are not too good for something. You need to accept that you belong in an environment where you have to work hard. There's nothing wrong with it. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. You should be proud, even if you're a garbage man, if you're a police officer, whatever it is. Focus, work hard, get better. Honest work, good work is good enough for me.